Good afternoon, YouTube. Scrappy Pappy channel here today. You may have watched a couple of other of my videos here. One that will come out here recently. It came out. It was on how to save 90% by making your own cigarettes at home with a Powermatic III. I don't sell these. I just use them. And as you can tell, I've ran roughly 21,500 cigarettes through this machine. It's essentially a machine. You put tobacco into here, and you've got a little cigarette sleeve that comes out over here on this end, and it actually comes in and it actually takes and packs the tobacco down, and then compresses it correctly to a desired level, and you make your own cigarettes. Essentially 10 cents, 10% of what you would pay in the store for your cigarettes. So for here in the United States, that's roughly anywhere from $8.50 a pack, US dollars, and you can make your own cigarettes for 95 cents a pack of cigarettes. So anyway, I've ran quite a few of these cigarettes through this machine in a little over a year and a half. I kind of did the math the other night, and I've had this machine 18 months and roughly ran about 104 cartons of cigarettes through this machine. And I noticed I was making a few cigarettes today, made about half a carton, and it didn't take me long, but I noticed there's a little bit of a squeak. So I, kind of like you, I went out to the internet and I said, does anybody even know what's inside this machine and what needs to get maintenanced, greased up? I've never seen anything on the internet about it. I've gone out to their website. You can't find anything because essentially this thing says it was Powermatic III, that it make sure you can see that. Oh, well, there we go. Made in China. And so the instructions that come with this thing are not that great. You kind of have to figure it out on your own. But there's a couple of videos out there, especially one where I'm making cigarettes. So you can save a lot of money on making cigarettes. With this machine, it makes it easy peasy. So given that, and I got a little squeak going on in here. Let me see if we can record it here. I'll see if I can get this little microphone down here pretty easy, and I'll just make it do something. So it's a little, can't really tell unless it's under a little bit of a load, but it makes just a little bit of a squeak, and I'm sure there's something in here after, you know, 21,000, making 21,000 cigarettes, that this thing might need some sort of lubrication of all the moving parts of the compressors and the rod that shoves the tobacco into the sleeve, and so we're going to find out what that is today, because I've never opened this thing up and I've never seen anybody else open one up. So we're going to dive in and figure out exactly what's going on. It looks like it takes a little small number 2 Phillips screwdriver, and I've kind of looked here. It looks like it's got several holes here around the rim that have your screws in them, and I've set up a drill with a very small bit on it, and so I can get in here and I see what I can do to hopefully take these screws out and not lose any of them, because, you know, that's the other thing. It looks like the ones on the rim here are the ones that come out. Hopefully. All right. And then the other thing I have here is a magnet. I'm going to make sure I capture all these screws when I throw them all out here on the playing field, known as the workbench. take those and throw them over here on that. Let's see. Not all of them came out. Well, that one didn't. That one didn't. Let me grab a different screwdriver. Off of the tool bench. And unscrewing screws is so much fun to watch on YouTube, guys. Let's see if we can get that out of there. And if not, just see if the damn top will come off. There's some other screws I didn't undo. Couple here. Didn't know if that was necessary or not, but we might as well give it a try. Maybe. Pretty short. Don't want to strip them out. Yeah, it looks like they needed to come. And alright. Let's see if we can get somewhere with that. Oh, there was one other screw. Uh-oh, I saw it. It's hidden right here underneath this label. I saw it earlier, and I imagine that's the one that voids the warranty. As if you're going to send this back to China for warranty. And we're kind of wondering how it comes apart. If it'll come apart. Not so far. Isn't it fun figuring out how things go together? Alright, well I got two more here. Let's see if that'll help. I'm sure it's holding down some sort of mechanical thing here on the inside of the machine. And the little screw just doesn't seem to want to come out of there. Put a little magnet on my screwdriver to give it a little more pulling power. And there's one over here. Oh, maybe I missed that one. That was pretty tight. There we go. That magnet seems to work pretty good. Alright. Now. Hey, we have success. Alright, something's gonna frickin' happen. Maybe even fall apart here. Hey, we have the magic going on. Okay, turn it over real slow. And there seems to be a lot of dust inside there. Probably going to need to get cleaned up. And we've got a couple of buttons here that go into these printed circuit boards. Uh-oh. Let's make sure we don't lose that. So they've got a couple of little bitty pads on them. When you punch the button. So we're going to need to make sure we don't lose that shit. That would be terrible, and I've already lost that down inside the machine here. We'll have to dig that out pretty soon. Now, here's a hopper. I've got quite a bit of tobacco in and around here. And then I've got piles of tobacco back over here. And what I suspect is this is there's a spoon that comes out of here when you've got the sleeve on there, and it packs the cigarette and brings it out. So it looks like that is kind of the main thing here that probably is going to need some lube of some kind. Shouldn't affect our actual tobacco. The spoon and the tobacco, it looks like it's probably, we don't know. Anyway, we need to dump some of this out here, but I need to make sure I don't lose that little part, because there's a lot of stuff down here in the bottom. I knew that thing, it fell right down here in between. So let's see what the hell comes out of it. And I think I was right. That's a lot of tobacco. A lot of old tobacco. And I didn't see the part I want fly out of there. It's this little clear pad right here that goes onto the button that presses on these printed circuit boards and says, kind of like a keyboard button, closes the circuit, tells it to work. So didn't see that there. I hate it when it's kind of like when you lose a nut down the inside of an engine. It just kind of goes to nowhere. This button trying to fall out here on us. The joys of tinkering. No, I don't see it down in there. Knocked a lot of crap off of there though. So we got to find that part. Anywho, these are the little compressor springo thingy dingies that press the tobacco and go back and forth through here. It kind of works its way down, and it's got a bunch of sensors that sense how much pressure is on each one of these three, so that it packs the tobacco to the given density of a cigarette you want, how much packing you want. Oh my God, where has my whittle part gone? We have no idea. Turn on another light, see if I can see it. A little more light on the situation. I'm trying to block the majority of that light from you guys. It fell right down through here and went missing. Interesting. All right. Kind of cool. Ah! It fell out. That's it. That's the little part we needed. That's going to go over there, and I'm going to have to put that someplace to where it does not blow away. So these buttons and the little plastic things are the same, and I'm going to be blowing some air here. So I'm going to move this out of my way. So that it does not get blown away. It was apparent that these 4 screws right here did not need to come out. And that's the hopper mechanism. It's still screwed to this, and so it's kind of there. So I'm going to go ahead and put at least one of these back in, because I don't want that falling out and breaking anything. Now, time to do a little cleanup. Get our little brush. Oop, another screw fell out that didn't fall out earlier. And so I'll use my old tobacco tray here. We'll get the majority of this out of here. Less to blow around. And we'll see what's going on. We're going to blow this machine out with a little compressed air, and then start working on greasing it up. There's that. Now then, a can of air. And I'm going to focus over here on this moving. This is the main moving part right here. I've got a brass slider, and that spoon slides back and forth. Stuff kind of builds up in there. That can's probably done. But it's going to be all right. Okay. Blow this crap out of our way. Now, if I had better sense, I'd probably leave this alone, but I'm going to take this screw out on this slider. Maybe. Maybe not. So, there are a bunch of little bitty gears right up in there. I don't know if you can, let me turn it again. Yeah, there you go. So you can see some gears down in there that actually have some tobacco in between the gears. I'm going to see what I can do to get some of that stuff out. Sure, that's not very helpful. At least some of it. There's still some more down in there. All right. So it looks like kind of a fine kind of a grease there. See if we can pull some of this excess off of there and kind of see what that is. What does that look like to you? Whatever it is, it's gobbed up, and that might have just been some crud on the slider face of this. not really seeing all that much we're going to be able to impact in here, other than the slider, which was really my goal to begin with, to get this thing a little greased up. Started taking too many things off of here and we're probably going to have a problem. So there's another kind of a gear setup right here. I can see the end of a shaft right up in there. And it looks like that's the motor that's driving these gears. Little gearbox there. And that is what is more than likely driving the mechanism that actually does this compression. You see these things move up and down. This is where the tobacco ends up, back here in this back corner. It's got a gate that slides down after it compacts it and then shoves it into the cigarette sleeve. All right. So I'm going to grab some lithium grease and I'm going to be right back. All right. So we are back, and I found a couple of things. I'm a junkyard dog. I'm a scavenger hound, and I save everything. This is an old anti-seize lube. I think I got it from my dad after he passed away. And then I've got an oiler that has some tin weight oil in it for oiling blower motors. Thus the reason why I put a long capillary tube, welded that on there so I can get blower motors in air conditioning systems. So I'm going to recommend to myself here that I go in here where this, where is that? Make sure you guys can see it. Down off in there. I can hold my mouth right, go the right way. Anyway, that gearbox motor down here, we're gonna put a few drops of grease on that bearing that I can see. Let it sit there a little bit. Looks like another little bitty area of a shaft that's coming through. We'll put a little drip of oil on that. And I'll use this Q-tip to kind of clean up some of the crud that's around those and get any excess oil off of there. Chunk that away. All right, and next, it didn't look like this screw wanted to come out. Looks like it does. It has a nut on the bottom of it. It looks like it's been marked red. Looks like it's because this needs to be a little loose in here. It doesn't need to be tightened all the way down so it can maneuver back and forth. So what I want to do is to get some of this anti-seize across this slider and see if I can find the best method to do that. First, I need to kind of wipe these surfaces down where I'm going to be putting it. Man, it's kind of greasy. It's a little dirty. And it's making cigarettes fine. It's just that little bit of a squeak in there that I'd rather it not have. I'm going to grease this pivot point, or oil it. Just a little bit of grease. Oil. And then This, I'm sure it's all brass. Get that a little bit more. All right. What I'd like to do is I'd like to plug it in and put this grease on here while this thing is, and kind of oil it up, grease it up with this anti-seize compound while it's kind of going back and forth. And maybe with the cover off of it I can hear kind of what where the sound might be coming from that I've been hearing with a little bit of squeak when it's under load. So let's try this. I know that lid's got to be up. Move that out of the way. Let's see here, let's plug this thing in. How's that for the top of my head? There we go. Now, and you'll be able to see the spoon come out over here. Looky there. Well, I saw some more grease over here. That comes back pretty quick. Now then, I'm down to one Q-tip to grease it up with. Pretty neat. I'm sure it doesn't need a lot, but I'll try and get some underneath. That carrier, because it's a T slot on this piece of brass right here, so I'm sure it would be nice for this thing to get a little grease on the bottom side too. Almost got me. All right. See. Help me get the stuff out of those gears. All right. I'm going to unplug it before I kill myself. Now then, that's another little moving part over this direction. A little bit of ooky grease on there. I guess these things are marked showing that they've been tightened, or maybe that's some sort of a something going on there. Just a little bit of lube right there. I'm plugging it again. Keep my fingers where I can see them. Let's see what that thing does. Oh, that's just this. That's just for the cover. And it's just got to be the sensor right there that says whether or not it's open or closed. Clean that off. That's no biggie. Alright, that opens up well. Ow. Alright. Paper towel. We'll dab up any excess oil I put over here. I'd rather it not be soaking up tobacco. Alright. It looks like a pivot point right here. Let's see what that thing does. Alright, well that's the gate mechanism that closes the tobacco into this cylinder before it shoots it out of here. See if we can clean that off a little bit. And it looks like it's got that bar that comes over here and gets into this gear right here. You can see that. Yeah. Alright, so it gives us some more little pivot points here to maybe put a dab of oil into. If I can aim that to where this shaft right here goes through, goes all the way through, and so there's a pivot point here for the gate. Add a little bit of grease there, or oil, and then a little bit right there, and then we'll operate it a little bit. And then make sure I'm not touching anything electrical, since still got it plugged in here. In this, the end of this cylinder here, see if I can point to it with, it is right down in here. Oh, my hand's in the way. A little more. Yeah, right there. That's the gear motor. I'm gonna go ahead and put some oil right there. I put some on there before, but I want to operate a little bit so that I know that that oil's getting down off in that bearing. And make sure this spoon's about to come out right here. So I'll remember to make sure I don't get myself there. Another drop on there. Seems to be soaking it in pretty good. Alright, we're going to unplug it. And I'll make sure there's no extra oil on the end of that. I don't see anything dripping out around any of this that I just got through doing. Looks like it's all pretty good. And that's about as far as I want to lube on this thing. I definitely don't want to take anything else apart. We've got a good scoop of tobacco out of there. So that was pretty nice. So anyway, lesson learned. These machines cost about $210 on Amazon, and if you're used to cranking a machine, and if you're thinking about getting one of these, I smoke a carton a week. That's $100 if I bought it at the store, and so this machine's $200. Out of every pound of tobacco, I can get 2 cartons of cigarettes, and then a box of sleeves has 200 to 250 sleeves in it, which is a carton of cigarettes, and they cost $4.50. The pound of tobacco is generally $15. Now, they say never do math on YouTube. You'll look like an idiot. But a pound of tobacco, $15. $4.50 for sleeves and filters, times 4. My return on investment for this $210 machine is less than a month, versus what I'm paying in the store. So that's how quick of a payback this actually has. So the next interesting thing is going to be putting it back together. We had these funny little bitty knobs over here, and we had a dirty cover. So we want to get all that cleaned out. Let's see if we can get that done. A lot of dust on the screen. And the view window got quite a bit of crap on it, so see if we can blow all that out of here. Awesomeness. Now, here comes the tricky part. We got to get these little buttons on in here. Had them over here in the I don't want to lose them pile. Now, nice. All right. So I think the best way to do this is going to be with a piece of tape. All right. So I can put the buttons down in here and then put a piece of tape across here. Maybe that'll hold it in place. Let me grab some tape. A little bit of shipping tape. We're always doing something with Amazon. All right, put that across here. We'll see if this ingenious idea works out. Well, that fell off. Make sure I don't drop it. There's that. that button on there. Yeah. Make sure that's on there and taped up real good. Then I think the best idea is going to be to flip this thing upside down. Let me clean off these terminals with a clean rag. Clean my LED screen a little bit. Now, and I think the best idea, since I've already got a screw in the bottom there, is take this, upside down, will it go back together, yes or no? There's that. There's that. Boom. And our buttons are still in place. The rubbers are still in place, it seems like. We'll turn it over. Throw our screws back in. I don't think that one, yeah, it fell out. Pop that one back in. Take these that one never came out. I'm going to skip that one. And that one had to hit the floor, right? Awesome. Voila. Good to go. All the screws back in. Plastic to plastic. They don't need to be real tight. Right, screws are in, buttons operational. Plug it back up, see if it goes boom. Turn it to where you guys can actually see it. All right, let's do a test real quick. We'll throw some tobacco in there real quick. Stick that on there. It goes right there on the little holder, and this little device comes down and holds the end of the cigarette while it pushes the tobacco through there. All right, let's grab some tobacco. Boom. It's over here somewhere. So I just use up the end of one bag, and so this is Kentucky Select. It says pipe tobacco, and if it said cigarette tobacco, Texas and every other state would probably add some additional tax, but it comes already shredded. And typically I'll take this and I'll take the longest ones and I'll kind of cut them up a little bit, but we're just going to throw some in here. Ooh, there's a little stem in that. We'll throw a little something down in there just to see if it'll make a cigarette. See what happens. Put a little more tobacco in there. Got to be smarter than the average bear. Yeah, this is pretty long cut tobacco here, so look at there. Made a cigarette. Nice, firm. Fairly well packed for just the first run, and it being this extremely long-haired tobacco. Typically, I take I'll process that tobacco, and I'll take the ones that are the longest, and I will chop them up so they actually look like cigarette tobacco. But that's it. Looks like we've done a good maintenance job there, and